the art of initiatory travel. More specifically, what actually results in transformation. So today we're exploring this idea of how traveling the world, throwing yourself into a foreign country, which you may or may not even speak the language of, is infinitely more powerful than reading infinite books, courses, watching videos on the illusion of progress, the mental masturbation, the spiritual bypassing. And we're exploring this idea of the lover's odyssey through the world of a man that wants to be a great lover to women, and the pathway being traveling the world, meeting different cultures, meeting different women, meeting different aspects and shades of femininity, of infinite masks of God that do exist. So, Stan, what do you think actually leads to lasting transformation? And in your travels, uh, first of all, how did travel change your life? At what point did you start? What made you want to travel? When did you take the leap of faith and go into a country where you didn't speak the language? You've done that many times. I think of Italy, of Georgia, of Morocco as well. If you want to share those stories, you don't need to. So, what was that journey like for you? And then I'll share after. What actually resulted in your transformation?
I didn't consider it as the traveling to get better with women. I traveled just because I wanted to travel, and most of the countries that I visited was uh, the countries that, in my belief, supposed to bring something into mm, my uh, my own initiation, right? Because I believe that at this point of de- developing of our society, we lost any type of initiations, right?
Mm.
Um, s- this is obviously like one of the reasons that we don't have fathers as the good role models. They kind of okay with us with the sons, right? Because they at least years ago they've been boys, right? So they kind of have idea how to communicate to us, but they terrible with their daughters, right? They never been good with their mothers, with their daughters' mothers, right? They even more
Mm.
terrible fathers with their daughters. Most of them. I don't talk in absolutes, right? But I mean, like that's a huge thing, and that's why people. I don't think only men, but also women. They need this type of initiation themselves
Mm-hmm.
to go and to see what they're made of, right? Especially men, I believe, because um I don't want to say that, but in my opinion, the way fathers raise their sons right now, it's the same as being raised without a father, right?
Mm.
So
Wow.
we can call it that most of the guys who even have the father, right? They kind of growing like fatherless. And I'm not trying to talk in absolutes right now, and people are different and mothers are different and etc. But usually when boy is growing up with mother without mm, good strong male example in his life, right? He's becoming more feminine. He's seeking more validation. He's trying to see all the signals that mom is not satisfied because she's also providing for him, right? She's
Mm.
also taking care of him. She gives everything, she brings everything to his world, right? So this person is completely dependent on woman. And then he goes into the world and he struggles with women because he treats every woman as he would treat his mother, right? It's one thing if your mom brought you some traumas in your childhood, it's one thing, right? But when you
Wow.
bring the whole complex of having no father in your life or having weak father in your life, so yes, so I think um, m- my travelings had this inner inspiration of going somewhere where I will rely only on myself, not on my family or not on my parents or whatever, right?
So sorry to interrupt you, Stan. So, in a world where there's no initiation, no rituals, no rites of passage for initiating, you created your own. There was no father figure that showed you the way. Like, this is, you were a boy now, and now you are a man. And so you went and created that for yourself. And it sounds like it was deeper than just getting better with women. It was something because you love literature, you love antiquity, you love mythology, you love these sort of things. So it was a more personal exploration. And it seems like girls was like a bonus or just a symptom, like a side effect of you fighting for what you wanted to explore. You initiated yourself from boy into man without a father figure, no role model, no heroes to show you the way.
Well, there is definitely been some. I would call it correlation, right? Because when I moved to Italy, I moved mostly because of antiquity, right? And another reason, I've always been inspired by people who are bigger than us, right? I never have any hate to someone who is more successful than me in
Mm.
whatever area, right? I'm I can be not on good terms with this person, but I will acknowledge that they better in some area than me, right? And it's
Yeah.
like respect your enemy for the strengths that are strong enough to conquer you or whatever, right? So yeah, I mean, for me, the whole story of me traveling Italy, and I traveled Italy from the north to south and back many times, it was all about that to try to dig into that dust of centuries, thousands years of Roman history and to understand what these people had that we don't have right now, because it's obviously they've been way better than us, right? The education was completely different. They didn't like what we call right now, we say like, oh, this person is very much educated, he finished Oxford, but no, he just learned one subject and that's all. He spent 4 years learning one subject. Doesn't make you educated, right? In my opinion.
Academically educated.
Academically educated. So, but Romans had different type of education, and as you know, that later on, especially in medieval times, it's affected Europe when man supposed to be intelligent, noble, has dignity, and at the same time to be a good fighter, right? But it started in Hellenistic time, actually, with Macedonian Alexander the Great, right? And even before him, people had that. Romans adopted that. And for me, it was always interesting how you can find something that where you can combine everything, right? When you can be, when you can have a spirit of warrior and the same time being um, smart as a boy. But yeah, and when you asked about women was like, the same with Georgia and the same with Italy. I remember when I was like studying uh, cities that I will move and will travel and etc. I was like, oh, I will. Stupid to say, but I was like, oh, I want to date the girl from Rome, right? Because they have their own mentality. All Napoli girls in Napoli, they are dancing all the time. They going
Mm.
on the beach and they taking life is ease and delight. And then I was like, oh, I want Sicilian women because they're good wives. They know how to take care of their husband. Because they men are always on war, right? Whatever war they have on
Mm.
Sicily, right? They
Yeah,
men
yeah.
are very masculine, right? And women are very feminine and they're taking care of their man. And she's always like there to clean his wounds, right? And yeah, I think it was like just combined. And then it all depends uh, on how you see the country, you know. There is saying that tourist goes to see uh, tourist travels to see the things he wants to see, right? And the traveler is someone who has no expectations. So,
Wow.
I mean, for me, it was always more interesting to absorb this culture into myself, you know, whatever it means, right? I don't know. Like, I mean, I've been on the call recently with some guys from Amarati community, and I said to them that I came to Bucharest because I wanted to hang out with guys who are good with women. Oh,
Hmm.
as I mentioned before, we, we ended up two of us, but it's not about that. I mean, in the end of the day, last months that I spent in Romania, I've been traveling country and I was the happiest.
You
I
mean
mean,
Brasov and Timișoara and the other
Sighișoara,
places in Romania?
yeah.
Oradea. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to explain. I really do not big believer in this idea that traveling itself will help you to solve your problems.
Well, okay, you're right, because a lot of guys go and travel and then they go spend time on vacation and they go home the same person. So they didn't, nothing changed fundamentally within
Yeah,
them. It sounded like, so just listening to you right now, you said that you drew a map of the places you wanted to go and experience, but obviously there's the preconception or the stereotypes, or okay, the women from this place are like this, the men from this place are like this, but you had to go and verify, it seems, with your own eyes. You had to go from a place of lived experience, see for yourself. If what, for example, we talk about The Hero of Our Time by Lermontov and
yeah,
Jordan. So, but you had to sit in the beautiful things you mentioned. One, if you know what you want to see in the place, then you're a traveler. You're a tourist. You're not a traveler. I don't know the right word for it right now.
hmm,
But you knew from the get go that it had to be from lived experience instead of information, hypothesis, theory. And it was more from action embodiment and to soak up the air, the blood, the energy of the place by being there in person. So you had to go and verify what you read about because you read, I don't know, thousands of books on these different places, right? But you had to go see for yourself how your journey matched with that energy of these sorts of places, it seems like.
I think, like, um, I don't know. I'm trying to understand the mindset of a man who is traveling the countries because the last time when I was in Latvia in Riga, I've seen this. I'm not gonna mention the countries, but it's usually, in my opinion, three countries. Not three countries, maybe more. They
In
come
what
for
way?
them in the town. They getting drunk. They
Oh,
try to approach women. It doesn't work. They getting even drunker, and they ended up in strip club,
yeah, and it
paying.
still didn't work. And so they ended up paying for still not getting what they
So,
wanted.
so I think we've seen this 1,000 times in Romania, right? It's very common in
Yes.
Romania because guys, so after Andrew Tate propaganda started to travel Romania massively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think if you travel just to get laid, then your life is miserable. I mean, pff, I don't know what to say.
Like, is
Honestly,
that all there is to your life? You mean like
the only
you're
thing
an
I can
animal?
say that um, I remember years ago, one of Emirati guys, he traveled to, I think he was from UK or something like that, but he traveled to Budapest. And he said that for him it's easier to date women from another countries because he doesn't feel pressure of people of his town, right? In this case, I
Mm.
understand that, right? But it doesn't sound like a trip when guys are spending all their money just to get laid. I don't understand that because I traveled many times without any expectation to meet women at all.
Or any money?
Any money, no. Like 1,000 times when we talked yesterday about us living 2024 in Romania
Oh
and
man, so poor but so happy.
that. I don't know. I think it's very complicated topic to answer on this. I can say that in the end of the day, if you're going to enrich, I think the right word, right? Enrich your soul, then you occasionally will end up being better with women. First of all my ideas from the books and etc. about women being like this in Florence and women being like this in Rome, in Napoli, Sicily, they've been wrong because Westernization
Hmm.
affected all the areas of the world except Georgia, actually. Thanks God.
Hmm.
Even though, like in Georgia, you can notice that girls are not wearing traditional clothes. That, in my opinion, is still very beautiful and very feminine, but they don't do that anymore. But they still act, at least traditionally, right? You see
Yeah.
them, and first of all, you think, "Wow, that woman would be a great wife." It's just there is a big gap, when you see some girls and you think like, oh, this women I just want to bang, and don't have anything in common with them. And then another
Yeah.
part, you're like, wow, I wonder about her raising my children, what my children will look
Yeah.
like when my daughter will has the same eyes she has. So I think if you travel with this intention, it makes sense. But if you just completely affected by idea that I will go to some country where it's easier to get laid. First of all, you need to understand how miserable you are if
Yeah.
you travel because of that, first of all. And the second thing, you basically saying to yourself, I need to lower level some type of level,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? So I would get laid. I and we talked about this yesterday. I had the problem. I was like really chasing unavailable women just because I wanted to put the bar here, right up there.
Yeah. You're not
And
my type. Because I'm smart? No, because you're single. Like James
yes,
Bond, right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And that was also stupid. And, but I don't know. I just really, I think if you go and travel just to prove something to your ego, to get laid or whatever, you won't get much out of this. I think the best traveling when you come back from there and you cannot describe it in words. You're just so happy. You're just so mesmerized. In the same time, you feel kind of melancholy because the journey is ended, right? And this gives you more enrichment
Hmm.
etc. than anything else. I don't know.
Well, so two things. One is you were talking to one of the Emirati guys, and he said that in a foreign country, he felt like he could be himself,
Hmm.
right? Because you had removed the environment and the expectations and the settings where anyone could judge you, anyone that knew you from your old life, from school,
Yes.
from whatever, from activities, from your upbringing, has this preconception of you that, unfortunately, because we're human, because we're mortal, affects how we act to some level. At some point, the more you go along, the less it matters, right? You see how old men are so themselves because they stopped caring what people thought about them. They actually just speak straight from the gut or straight from what they actually are, right? If not spending decades pretending to be someone they're not, because society and women that love them keep them in a certain box or in a cage or in like a fenced in area if you're a stallion. Um, so you're saying that for a man that travels, it has to be for a deeper purpose than just to get laid because it's quote unquote easier. That's the difference between maybe a guy like Casanova or a true lover or international lover versus a passport bro stan is terminology that exists in the world today, right?
Hmm.
Because the concept is if you can't get girls where you are, then you go somewhere where it's easier to get,
Yeah.
quote unquote, you right? This is what you're referring to?
Well, in general, I think it's not so badly connected as guys used to say, right? As they
Okay.
used to promote it. I think maybe partly it came out of touristical companies and etc. That like
Mm-hmm.
travel demonize there and etc. I don't know. Like, I mean, I really don't see there is correlation because two, like in my opinion, and I've seen many guys who are good with women, right? Two, the best I know, they didn't leave the country. Never, ever, right? And they're great with women and they never left the country. I don't know have they ever traveled at all, maybe out of town. But what I'm trying to say, it's obviously if you travel in South America, right? It will give you a lot of um, ease, ease that South American people have, right? Some passion and etc. What we lack in the Western world right now. Then when you will bring it back, obviously, if you're sincere with yourself and if you trying to become better and trying to use what you learned or what you've seen there, what you try, if you try to apply it, definitely you will get some results with women. The same happened to me when I was in Napoli, right? Guys there, if they like the girl who's passing by, they do this, ciao bella,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
show you they do this like, oh, you broke my heart, right? And
Giving away all the secrets.
I remember after 2 months in Napoli, I was standing on the balcony and I was on the fifth floor and I've seen on the second floor a girl was sitting on the balcony and reading the book. And for me, it was the sexiest image ever. I had no clue what her
That's pretty
looks
hot. Girl
like.
reading a book on a
Exactly.
balcony.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. Short
Yeah.
skirt or like short skirt polka dots, I think it's called, right? Like very, very traditional Italian image. And she's
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
And I made this pepper fly, how it called? Pepper plane?
Paper plane.
Yeah, pepper plane, and I wrote my
You threw one to
Instagram,
her?
said it to her, yeah. And
Did
the
you
first
did
one
you
didn't land, only the second one. First
okay, at
one
least
went
you hit the target.
street. Yeah, and then I noticed, then I realized I was like, oh damn, this is, that in general exists in Napoli. You stop caring about will it land, and I'm not just talking about this pepper plane, right? Will it land with her? Will it land with you? You just like, and I think the same you can bring from South America. But again, if you close-minded, right? If you go there hating the world and just wanting to take revenge by, there is a bunch of guys who is going with this hatred towards women, and they're like, oh, I will go there, and let's say Colombia or Venezuela,
Mm.
fuck all the women. If you go with this approach, I don't think you will become better man with women. You will come back into your town more miserable and just hating women even more because you will compare like, oh, women are like this there, and in my town, women suck. I don't understand this approach,
What a
But
sorry way to exist. Yeah, wow.
yeah, I think it's fucked up.
But the guys don't know any better. There's no good instruction for men, right? Because the popular message for men, Stan, we talked about this in the previous days coming up to this, is like there might even be some good things to the messages of masculinity that currently exist. In our estimation, or at least to speak for myself, it's like a 50 or 60% accuracy sort of thing. You kind of are being masculine and reclaiming what it means to be a real man, But how is hating women part of being a real man? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right? So there's these because for lack of a good message, even a partially good message is better than nothing, right? But if men were just to hear a message of joyful masculinity, oh, you can actually love women and be loved by women and be a real man. And it's not about how you look, it's about how you act and your disposition, right? Stan, we're talking about men that look feminine, for example, but act masculine, if I can be so presumptuous. I'm curious your thoughts on that. Like, what is a message that is complete, that is a healthy, joyful, celebratory version of masculinity? The kind that isn't performative, that people don't need to prove anything. Like, you don't need to show off. Like, what is the pinnacle of that in your mind? If there's any good examples, for example, yeah, popular on social media right now is like the idea of Aragorn from Lord of the Rings as an ideal of masculinity, right? But there's different versions of that, and I'm curious from your understanding and your knowledge, what is that for you in your mind, and what message is missing, and what needs to be taught, and message needs to be spread, if not by us, by someone else. But
Hmm.
what are the things that are missing from the popular messaging in the culture right now?
Well, I think it's I want to touch the first part.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there is it doesn't matter how you look like. You can maybe even being more feminine in your way you dress in and way you present yourself. It's maybe even better because it gives women some kind of feeling that he's on our side. But you need to act masculine because
Mm.
that's another story. But anyway, I don't know. I think the problem with men right now, they follow whatever movement, but they don't follow themselves. They don't explore
Mm.
new paths, right?
They don't
They
think for themselves in a way.
they go on the road that is already exists by
Ah.
one parties and other parties, Republicans, Democrats. I don't care. I really don't care about any movements. I don't care. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I have my own opinions, right? But they're not shaped by someone saying this on Instagram, on social media, or
Well,
YouTube, whatever.
you carving your own path through the jungle, through the
That
forests, then.
I don't even have this type of approach, right? I just I just allergic to following someone. It's first of
Yeah.
all. And second thing, there is great minds that Suvorov, a Russian general, used to say, have you can have great examples, great role models, but always need to think that you need to overcome over glory them and etc. That's what is
Yeah.
closer to my approach. I might be inspired by someone, right?
Wait, can you flesh that out more? That's interesting. I just don't think I understood it fully. So you can have role models, but try to surpass them, or if I
Yes,
misunderstood.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Because the idea of the guys, they just think, okay, I will have role models, so I will support this movement or this movement, and and that's all. They don't think further, right? They don't want to see themselves as the rulers of their life. And that's, I think, the biggest lack of masculinity because they are okay being in the role of being passive followers, right?
Let me take it further, Stan, because people are posting thoughts that they saw, and that's cool, but they didn't come up with it themselves. And is this also related to the idea that there's not many good writers in this? From curious your perspective, in this generation, this 21st
There
century,
is
let's
not
say.
many people who reading right now in general, right? I
Oh,
mean,
also that.
I think
Well, when you
statistically
can,
we have more than ever people who are buying books, right?
yeah,
But usually it's books on self-help and etc. Which actually Belinsky, one of the Russian critics, he said this type of books. He talked about they didn't have self-help by that time, but he said that the best thing to get your life on the right track is to read the classic literature because new patterns comes with deeper immersion into that, right?
hmm
So when you read the good classic literature, you basically one of the characters of that story, right? At least in your imagination. I don't think it's about writers. The problem, people misunderstand that when they talk about writers. Good writers always been not outcasts. They always been for the novelty, right? Only people with great
taste.
education, great taste, right? They could
Yeah.
understand and value that, right? So it's the same like Yeah, I mean, what I'm in general talking, men right now are very comfortable to follow someone or something, and it doesn't matter what exactly they follow. Is it the favorite musician, favorite mentor, favorite vlogger, blogger, influencer, whatever, right? They're very comfortable to follow that. They're very comfortable. They see some of the idea that hypes. They take this idea and they think, okay, I will hype on this idea since it's trendy right now. I will get attention from people. People will say, "Oh, he's a good boy because he's talking about that." I don't want to be a good boy. I
He
want to be
fits in. He blends in. Yeah.
yes, and I think that's the problem. This is unmasculine thing. Masculine man cannot fit in anywhere because he thinks um, and acts according the way he sees the world. He doesn't take someone's idea to fit in. And that's what, if you would ask me, what is the problem with the masculinity right now? Guys are very comfortable and they willingly want to fit in.
Well, that's easier than not fitting in.
Yes, but it takes you very far from the leadership.
Well, you said you're allergic to role models in a
Mm-hmm.
previous podcast we did, Stan.
Yes.
But there's a sort of a sickness, or you how do you say? I think it's a quote from Jung. Tell me if I'm wrong. But if you're walking someone else's path, then it's not your own path.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who it's from. Maybe you know better than I do.
No, tell me. Maybe it's mine.
I don't remember who it's from, but that makes a lot of sense. So then I wonder then, but how do you teach that? How do you? It's like a true master. This is from Osho. A true master creates masters, not followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want guys following you around. You want men, and I think of Johnny Saporno as a great example of this. Who we should have on soon? Who we will have on soon?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Um, where he's like, I don't want you to be a mini version of me. I want you to be a mega version of you. And
Yeah.
even though the principles or the foundation might be the same, we like women, for example, we like to travel the world, we like learning languages, we like Hinkale, whatever. Like, you have to be the maximum version of you, even if we have a difference in philosophy. As a man, I can respect you for having your own opinion that you're going to stand by and own with your spine instead of conforming just to fit in or to be more likable or more agreeable in a sense. Even if you don't agree on everything, right? You can look at a guy that, if he's truly, I don't know what you think about this then, he's truly true to his own, you said the way that a man sees the world, and to act like that is the pinnacle of masculinity. Not to put words in your mouth, but generally, right? If you see a man act like the way he sees the world, even if you don't agree with him, at least there's a level of respect. Okay, that's a man right there. Like, even if we don't agree on everything, but at least he's being true to himself than to follow along because it's comfortable, in a sense. But do you think it's possible for everyone to be the master of their own reality, to be a leader? Some people are meant to be followers, no, Stan? Some people will
Yes.
never be followers, and some people will only be followers. Do you think all men should not be followers? Because then how do we make a tribe or a crew, a pirate crew or a community? Unless the community was, it was in the best interest of everyone, the truest thing for their path to be part of that community, then perhaps there could be, if we want to evolve the discussion a bit into the creation of this sort of, like, why would men even bond together then if everyone's on their own
I think
path?
I think
Unless they
the
could all
reason
be better. Yeah.
I think the reason why men would be bonded together, it's let's say we live in there been idea the long wait long time ago. As far as if I'm correct, it's mostly almost mystery, right? But they say that Arab philosopher Ibn Khaldun. And
Hmm.
Ibn Khaldun had the idea asabia. Asabia, it's like we can translate like society, the tribe, right? So idea of his philosophical concept was, and he lived in 10th century, I think, in Morocco, right? So it's like long time before the communism been invented. And in Asabia, he describes that people, like let's say I'm making swords, right? I'm swordsman, right?
Yeah.
And you, let's say, making shields, right? And to protect our village, we need to collaborate, right? I'm bringing you sword, you bringing me shield, and there is people who, let's say, sell bread, sell leather, sell something, and that's how men collaborate, right? In this case, I believe that men right now can collaborate by exchanging knowledges with each other, right? because I don't want to hang out with the guys I don't have anything to learn from, right? Um, that's the reality, right? In the same time, I can say that mm, how to nail it correctly. You also don't need to be close-minded and to think that from whenever you see the person and you presumably you're saying like, well, I don't have anything to learn from him, what he can teach me, right? That's not true because we had students who great artists, great musicians, and etc. And I've been happy to talk with them about classic music, right? Which is like for me, I used to think that nobody cares about classic music anymore, right? But these people they collaborate with world star famous musicians, and then you're like, well,
Yeah.
fuck, I can talk with this guy about classic music for days and days, right?
They can make like heavy rap and then go into classical music because it's
Exactly. So as the leader of your tribe, right, you need to be open-minded enough to see the potential in these guys, right? Not to kick them out right away and say, well, I don't have anything to learn from them. So that's how I see, man doesn't need to be bonded by just the idea, oh, I'll bond it with them because it's cool to have my little pirates or whatever. I think it's way cooler when
yeah.
you collaborate with people who are better than you in some areas and you better than them. And then you grow up with them, they grow up with you.
You grow together. That's what it has to be. You become more yourself when you spend time together. Actually, number one, right? And two, even if you're masters in different fields, there's mutual benefit to staying together. Actually, you're no one's better than the other, right? Let's say one of our friends is a music producer who made that sample that we can't say who for discretion, but think like A-list fucking celebrity, fucking rap musician artist sampled his track, right? This is our friend. In some domain, he's far superior to you and me, Stan. You know what I mean? But in other ways, we can help him. He can learn from us just like we can learn from him. And that's enough to stay together, is what you're saying. I'm understanding, right?
Yes.
And because
Because
the tide rises all the boats.
there is the problem, like people they they feel obliged to hang out with people they don't really like, right?
Mm.
And just to be polite. And again, you come back to fit in this case. I don't know, like it's a difficult question. Masculinity itself is a difficult question because healthy masculinity is not uh being cruel to everyone and being completely cold-blooded and independent. Because healthy masculinity is also knowing how to take care of people around you.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's very, very difficult to answer, but I can say for certain, woman will forgive you a lot of your mistakes if you are leader of your life, and if she sees that these flaws and etc. It's not the purpose of your life, and I mean,
Ah, interesting. Yeah, continue.
like when she knows that your path is 99% is going towards your direction, right? And you made some mistakes in your life, right? She will forgive it because she knows that 99% you dedicated to something big.
Well, making mistakes isn't the problem. The problem is trying not to make mistakes and not being yourself in the pursuit of trying to fit in, actually, right? Because if a woman saw that you were truly trying your best on your spiritual path, on your path of destiny of greatness, and then you messed up or you made a miscalculation, but you were sincere and you were trying your best, that of course that's forgivable. Come on, we're fallible, we're mortal, we're not perfect,
Yeah, in my
right?
opinion, women have nothing to be in love in you with if you're trying to fit in. I mean,
Oh wow,
she
what a thing to
she
say.
that's the
So
reality.
women have nothing to truly be in love with in a guy if he's just trying to be like everybody else.
Yes. She
Oh
might hang
wow.
out with him months, 3, 4. She might even get late with him, but then she will realize that no, there is nothing to stay with.
Well, he's a good provider.
Unless he's a good provider, right? But I really believe that women and us the same way, man, right? We really like to continuously solving something. Women stay there where they invested a lot, right?
Well, women are investors, my friend. Invest while the stock is low. Bet on the horses,
Yeah, but
metaphorically.
the less investors in terms of finances or material things, right? But the investment is more expensive. It's emotions, right?
Mm.
And this investment is always more expensive because if she cried because of you, if she laughed because of you, if she had orgasms because of you, it's way more stronger investment than any money she would spend on you.
No. Or even time.
And even time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're really easy to solve for her, right? If there is no depth in you, why she would think about you? Why she would fantasize about you?
There's no mystery.
Nobody wants miserable life, right? Miserable wife. No,
Miserable wife, miserable life.
nobody wants miserable life, and she also wants a winner, right? I think Johnny said that she will take a half of the winner than full
Yes.
loser.
Yes. The quote, I believe, I think it's from Johnny, is
Yeah, I
women
think
would rather have part of a winner than all of a loser.
yes.
What an idea.
And it doesn't mean that you need to win all of your battles, because I think you ultimately winner in our society is easy to be a winner, you know. Just
Well, the
don't
bar's pretty low.
yes, just don't follow what everyone's follows, right? I mean, the problem with our society, you know, they look on the things like I don't want to say surnames, right? Whatever, but they pretty much say like, let's say there is two guys, right? One is more masculine, another one is more feminine uh, and progressive, let's call it, right? And first one is more masculine and traditional, and they say, "Oh, I don't support this traditional masculine guy." And right away, instead of choosing their own perspective, they start supporting another one who's feminine and kind of not traditional and etc. Or vice
Huh.
versa. They don't even try to find their own way. Amount of information. So basically, in our times, being winner is just not being like everyone else. You know, just try to find your own opinion.
Wow. By being unique, you are
Yes,
already a winner because everyone else is blending in with each other. So the question
but
then, Stan, that came to mind when I was listening to you is how long are you willing to stay on your own path, to risk being disliked, to risk not fitting in, to risk not having a community, until the point where you continue on that path with the full conviction and belief that, oh, you become so undeniably great. How long are you willing to stay unliked and in the dark and unrecognized and on your path, even if no one recognizes it? Stan, I think of your Instagram bio. Nobody know, baby. I said I'm a genius, but nobody knows it but me. I don't know if it's from Bukowski or who's it from.
Bukowski.
Bukowski, right? How long are you willing to endure and stay in the dark? And this is like these painters and these artists and these writers that died centuries or a century before their work was ever recognized as genius. You know, they never saw their success in their lifetime, but they were just true to their art, to their path, to their art, to their spirit, without any external validation necessary, and that may have came in their lifetime or not. It's an interesting point that I was thinking of when
I
you were
think
sharing
it's like
this.
women, you know, women want to feel freedom until that freedom become loneliness, you know.
But is it different for men?
No, it's not different. That's what I'm saying. It's exactly the same, you know. It's the same, I guess, for the artists. I don't really think that Van Gogh or Gauguin been completely happy knowing that nobody understood them. They've been most likely they've been sure that they're doing something great with their life, right? But
They themselves knew it was great.
yeah, I think it's not the question about like doing something great or not doing that. When you're sure that you're doing something magnificent with your life, it's enough for you, right? But in the same time, you want to see results of your fruits, right? And I don't talk about recognition or money or finances, right? I believe these people who never became famous while they've been alive, they just would love to see appreciation, maybe not appreciation, but just people who understood what they wanted to say, to show, you know. So I think freedom is a great thing, right? But most of the people take this to the point when they become lonely.
So let's say who is an artist that became famous in his lifetime or got sponsorship? Let's say Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo,
Mhm.
right? had like a patron of the arts that saw their talent and just paid them to be them, to have them never worry about survival pressure, to focus maximally on their art, their highest leverage task, the thing that they're the absolute best at in the world, right?
Yes.
How many artists didn't get that, right? And then there's some artists like maybe Picasso or no, not Picasso in his lifetime. Help me, Stan. Some guy that like Van Gogh, right? He never saw his success in his lifetime. But posthumously, he's dead. Hundreds of years later, he's recognized as a genius, right? But he never saw that. What is it to him? He's fucking in a grave, rotting somewhere. But there's probably artists that are maybe more talented than any of those guys that still never got discovered or recognized, that maybe didn't want to publish their stuff. They never published it, and it never got discovered, and they're a complete genius, and they didn't even get recognized after they died, for example. How many guys like that are out there? And so the question that I'm pointing to is, in their lifetime, what was more valuable than the fame or the riches or the fortune they never had? Maybe just a friend that says, wow, your art that you're trying to create is really amazing, man. So this idea of freedom versus loneliness, what I'm really trying to get at here is, in my mind, quality over quantity. But if you have even one person, not to mention more, of a community of people that really get it, that get you, maybe that's enough. Johnny Saporno's idea is you can be a source of freedom and security. And security also in the sense of belonging and community. Like, you can have freedom and not be lonely if the people that you spend time with multiply your freedom. You have more opportunities and more possibilities because you spend, I'm not trying to preach here, but you spend more time together, and more is possible than you would be able to achieve alone. With even one person that understands you, that gets you, that enables you, that multiplies you, that you see what I'm trying to get at here. Or if I'm talking shit, let me know. But I feel like for like an artist like that, if he had one friend, and there's also this idea of like Picasso and Matisse that were pushing each other to each make their own art greater, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there's a way to be completely free and not feel lonely with someone that truly has, maybe cares about your happiness. Casa es su casa, your happiness is my happiness, as much as their own. And then you're both completely free, but also not lonely. We talk about the Byronic hero, which you resonate a lot with, Stan, and in the hero of our time in Lermontov, you know? But does it have to be that way? And we can explore this more in future weeks and in episodes, but it seems appropriate right now. Like, is it conceivable that there's a multiplication of freedom that happens when you have people that truly care about each other, a true community of belonging and enabling?
Well,
How does
first,
that idea land with you?
in Byronic Hero, you need to have a lot of balls, right? I mean, most of these guys, they become hikikomori, but not Byronic heroes, right? They just close themselves in the apartments and they play video games and etc. Byronic hero is someone who lives on the edge always, right? And by
Yeah.
living by the edge, Byronic hero basically came out of disappointment of everything what society was offering by that time, right? In 18th and 19th century. It's people who've been extremely educated, extremely successful with women, extremely successful with finances, right? And they like, oh, nothing brings me joy anymore. And plus, it was period of the history when we started to question the existence of God, right? At least of Christianity. So I think Byronic hero came out of disappointment and out of tiredness. So not everyone who is just a loser in his life is Byronic hero. Usually Byronic hero is the one who already had all of these experiences, right?
Right.
And he's just he just understands that even if he would love to fit in, there is no place for him to fit in, right?
Well, what if the place to fit in is the place where no one fits in? Then you fit in if you don't fit in.
I don't know.
I'm not saying you and I are perfect or even good guys, but if a girl meets us, maybe one, maybe a few, will think, a lot of men are very not treating women or me well, but at least I had that one experience with him. Let's say it doesn't have to be us, Dan, but that symbolically is at least there's still good men out there. You're saying there's still good women out there that make you believe.
Right, but I think many women try to be vulnerable to open up to men, and the men just took advantage of this, right?
And then they're hurt. They're skeptical the next time. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I think in our society what happens, if you look on the relationship of people, right, and when you see the woman is leaving, right, it's rarely that she's leaving because love is gone, right? It's the moment when she doesn't know how to find the angle for to approach the situation.
Like she gives up, honestly. Like she closes the possibility that he could change. Actually, close the door.
First of all, that's first of all, right, that he could change, but the second thing, uh, the trauma that um that lesson that she was doing her best, and it's never been appreciated, it stays with her and it goes further, right? It doesn't mean that someone is responsible to help her to navigate that, but I think because in our times, 2000s, let's say in the last 50 years, right, people started to date way earlier. So some of the girls, but being 18, 20, they already had not nice experience with men, and they want to give their best, right? And they see this guy as the legit guy, and she wants to be the only girl in his life. She wants him to be the only guy, and she wants to be the best version of herself. But she remembers how painful it was a year ago, 2 years ago, when she was with the wrong guy, right? And she cannot open that side. She tries for one moment when she's more tipsy and etc. She shows tears, and he understands that there is some beautiful ocean inside of her, right? That's all about him. But to bring these waves on the surface, she doesn't know how to, right? And the same with the guys, many guys.
Wow.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know why I'm talking about
No, no,
this.
no, no, no. Continue. You're saying it. You're saying it great.
I was thinking yesterday, like a woman can remember your careless word that you said to her for years if she was in love with you, right? And she might not remember the most beautiful or most cruel thing that guy said to her, the guy she never been in love with, right? And that shows something about women's heart, right? Very,
Because you had her heart even for that moment, and it really hurt her on some offhanded comment that you made while you were drunk or something, right? Then
yes.
it sticks with her for years. Oh man.
Right now we're talking only about good women, right? I mean, good women. I mean, I met women who really don't need a happy man, right? They meet happy guy and they do their best to make him unhappy so they can pity him.
They can be unhappy together. She's not happy.
No, I wouldn't even say that, but there is some type of like girls who is trying to create drama in man's life, to bring him difficulties and etc. So she would show up as the savior later on.
So it's like a doctor that creates a health problem for him to fix, in a sense, and take your money.
Hopefully she's not taking your money, but if she's also taking your money, then it's like double.
Well, I mean, that is the way of the world.
Like girls, it's understandable, like they they seek a lot of things in the relationship. So partly it's the father, a friend, a lover, a savior, and etc., right? But their previous experiences taught them to resent the human in their boyfriend, right? So they see him as everything, as the friend, as the lover, as the king, as the warrior,
As daddy,
the
as their
savior,
son.
as their son, right? But they never see him as the human in the first place. Not because they are cruel, it's because something happened and now she prefers not to touch that sensitive part when someone is human, right? When you also might be responsible for the way he sees you.
Fucking pussy, right? Like, you can't be weak or vulnerable around me. That's so interesting, Stan. It reminds me of the idea of this kind of woman that exists that when you treat her well, she loses respect for you because she has such a low image of herself that she's like, I feel like a shitty person. So if he's treating me well, he obviously doesn't think of me as a, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then so when you treat her well, her pussy dries up. Actually, and it's not her fault, quote unquote. Sorry to speak crudely, but she cannot accept that she, knowing the shitty things, quote unquote, that she's done, should be treated well, deserves to be treated well by a guy. And the guys blame themselves. They're like, oh, well, I can't be kind to women then because it makes me look weak. and the woman goes and bangs someone else when it wasn't about the guy in the first place. And the next time, they feel like they can't be a good guy again because the last time they were kind to a woman, they got stomped on and they got cheated on and they got, wow, what a fucked up world, man.
She loved
Like,
being desired, but she doesn't want to be more desired than she desires you.
that's human nature as well.
Yes.
You want what you can't have. And what's the phrase then? You say, there's one that kisses the cheek and one that offers the cheek, always, no matter what.
Yeah.
That says that, right?
I like another one, it's better, by Sergei Dovlatov, Russian writer. He says, in love wins the one who loves less. Yeah, but that's true. There is a lot of girls who does it. I think it's again what we talked in the beginning about fathers who doesn't know how to be good fathers to their daughters, right? First of all, they don't know how to be good husbands, right? So how he will figure out the woman when she's just growing, right? She goes with this. She just used to very little, from her father. She used to be always secret, hiding everything, not feeling comfortable enough to talk to her parents, being always afraid that they will judge her, they won't be on her side. And that's what she expects from men. She meets the guy who is healthy, has good boundaries, and he wants to explore the world and relationship with her. But she starts to see him as the weak because her father wasn't like this. Her father barely talked to her. And Alex yesterday asked me, he said, like, why girls would stay with someone like Bukovsky after he been kicking her out, right?
Literally, physically.
That's the point, because that's what she used to have in her life, right? She thinks that it's normal behavior. There is like, in this book I mentioned once, The Moon and Sixpences by Somerset Maugham, the woman tells the history. She had two husbands, right? And she talks about first one. She said, what a great man it was. He was cheating on me every day. He was beating me up, but I loved him so much. And then he asks, what about second husband? She said, he was a good guy, but I always cheated on him. I was beating him up and etc. There is behavior that appears in woman life just because she grew up in these circumstances, by
she's
parents
used to.
who've been too dramatic fighting, or by parents who didn't talk to each other, barely talk to each other. Or let's say there is a lot of men who's just leaving house, shutting the door and appearing after 2-3 days, or he needs time to calm down and etc. So as the child, she sees that, and all children are narcissistic in the healthy way. They think that whatever is going on in my family is going because of me. I'm the one to blame, They're main characters of their childhood. So they think if parents are fighting, they're fighting because of me. If father left the house, it left because I did something wrong. If my mom is crying or my mom is cold, it's also because of me.
So there is a self-responsibility, like a radical personal responsibility that children feel, actually.
Yeah, and they also feel, like I'm a main hero. I have unlimited powers, and now my parents shows that they cannot even fix the problem, and heart of the child is getting very much broken into many pieces after that. That's when society started to encounter problems of self-limiting beliefs and etc.
So then there's two levels to this. So one, we're talking about some dark stuff, actually. And because these traumas and these patterns and these upbringings for men and women result in the turn on, in the attraction patterns, in the specific unhealthy cycles that we might even be aware of but keep returning to whether we like it or not, right? Because, say it simply, let's say a girl's pussy responds to this. Her mind doesn't, but this is what she saw and only thing that she knows. Except the antidote, if this is a problem, which it's not, we're all broken. Nobody's perfect. No one had a good childhood, right? As Anne says. Except when you meet a shining example of a beautiful soul, you said, I don't know why you said this, because I don't see myself this way, but you say I have a good soul, Stan, for some reason, I don't know. But when you see a good example, like that girl that gave you a place to stay for 3 fucking days when you were in Napoli, right? And borrowed money from her friend to pay for some nice beers that she knows you like. When you get an example of that, maybe you rewrite your patterns. You see an example of a different way that things could be that is not so negative and dark and destructive and hopeless, you see like, wow, at least there was one good shining example. I don't want to say this point again, but and for us men, yeah, I can think of girls that were so kind. Uh, no, like I have nothing to offer you. Maybe some passion and some adventure and some spontaneity. I had no money. Like you have your own, like, but like, why do you feel like, why would you do this? Like I can't offer you anything, and you still care, and you're still kind. I can think of girls like this. A lot of a few in Romania. Um,
Yeah, in Romania, a lot of girls like this too. Yeah.
like even if it came from a place, this is a fucked up thing to say, but like, oh well, because they felt that's the only way that they could be loved if they had something to offer. I mean, right? So it might not be like a noble thing that they're doing, or they might not even be conscious of it. It's just, yeah, obviously, I take care of you. I'm sure you would do the same for me if the circumstances were reversed, quote unquote. But it doesn't have to be so transactional and calculated and manipulating. And I guess like there can be good people. I mean, there can be good moments at least, right? Even if, what if that girl Stan? I don't know her, you know her, but she was mean to every other single man she ever met. But because she was safe or saw something in you that was so sincere and honest that she was like, you know what, he deserves to be treated well. Or maybe this is the way she always is. I don't know for certain, right? But there's this idea that, like, how many men didn't have this kind of experience with a girl with that spirit? And how
Yeah,
many girls, right?
most of the guys,
No,
as they get tenderness from their woman only in the moment when she feels like she's losing him.
or like, oh, he can still have something to offer me. So of course, then I'll take care of him. He's worth taking care of. Instead of,
But
but then there's sorry, Stan. Then there's a shadow side of that, of like, oh well, there's a lot of girls that take care of a guy way longer than they should, you know, at their own destruction and the cost of their youth and their time and their beauty and their energy and everything. So how do you draw the line if there is a line? You know what I mean?
yes,
Interesting discussion for sure. I don't know if there's any answers, but there's a lot of questions, Dan. Every time we talk, there's more and more questions than answers. But at least it seems like what I can commit to. I can't speak for you, but the to commit to at least creating those kind of experiences where the other person looks back and like, wow, that was a good experience. That was an exception. Hopefully it's not an exception and they have a lot of that in their life. But if even one time or the first time that someone is shown, and you and I have both seen this for girls that have done this for us, if we can be that to a girl, even one time, maybe she can think, wow, I still believe. I still believe in those dreams of Disney princess and fairy tales and stuff like this. A little bit, in some way, even though we can't, there's certain things we can't offer as well. But at least something like this, to commit to creating good experiences where no one feels used, and you look back and it was a beautiful experience, even if it didn't last forever. You have something to say?
well, I would say it's when as the man you see your life is bigger than just goals. For you, it's easy to give her space to heal. So the space when she will start believing in men again, right?
Even if
Because
you caused the hurt, even if you inadvertently or caused the hurt, you can still help her heal. Even if you're sorry, Stan, I want to hear what you have to say. I just think of a quote from a special girl, and you know her. She's like, when the problem asks you what the problem is. So please continue.
yeah, I think um well, there is some guys who might say, that, well, I would love to give her space to heal. I would love to be for her that guy who will make her believe in men. But what if she will betray me, right? If she will betray you, you will leave her, right? That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Why, if you really man on your past, why that small circumstance that might be heartbreaking, right? Why would you really care about that if you have bigger things to do in your life, right? In the end of the day. So I think if guys would consider that and they would see their life bigger than just this relationship he has, they wouldn't really worry that she might not be enough appreciated of him being good and kind and loving and caring to her, right? It's it's something that comes back again to masculinity, right? The good benevolent king, benevolent monarch. I think he is doing so many things that not beneficial to him, right? But beneficial to people who depends on him, right?
Yeah.
And that's the quality that mm, men need to explore within themselves. Are you doing something just to get some benefits out of this, or you're doing this just because it's your nature, right? And just because you sincerely valuing her happiness over your happiness, you know? If you know that you're a good guy, that you're an interesting man, if you're a strong man, then you will be fine. If she will betray you and you will lose her, yeah, you will feel sad.
Momentarily bad, yeah.
Yes, but I think if you lowered your life and made your life as small as the relationship with her, whatever she will do, it will be painful to you, right?
Because your life is so much bigger than anything that one woman can do to you anyways if you're a man on a great journey and a great destiny, in a sense.
You know that there is interesting thing about women. Um, she definitely wants him to be strong enough, you know, to survive her contradictions, but in the same time soft enough to forgive her, you know. And
Yep.
that's what that's what rarely comes, you know, in the package. Usually, usually the guy who is strong enough to overcome her contradictions, he doesn't forgive her, you know. He
Right.
usually has conviction to leave,
Or he forgives her, but he can't
but
be
separately
strong
from.
enough for her
Yeah,
contradictions.
he
Yes.
forgives her, but separately already.
He forgives her at his own expense. And so
He
there's this
forgives
other
her
idea that I think.
relationship. Yeah, but
There's this idea.
that's
Oh,
what
sorry, Sam.
if guys can combine these
Yeah.
things, you know, to be strong enough to understand her contradictions, to be patient enough, and then to be patient to find forgiveness, true forgiveness, not just like I forgave you, you know, because nobody is perfect. Girls, the same as we live this life for the first time. We don't know how to live this life. Nobody gave us any manuals, you know.
Hmm.
So all of us going to do mistakes, you know. The beautiful,
Yeah.
I said it in the last podcast, in the previous podcast, the beauty of a relationship comes when two partners find strength to close their eyes on some certain things. And then you will save chemistry, love, flourishness, and etc. for a long, long period of the time. And I observed many couples who in the 60s, right, how they save that. Just because they taken everything easier and in the end of the day they prefer they choosing each other more than they choosing perspective of being right or wrong.
Well, even if that comes in the form of, hey, there's certain things that I don't want to know because it would maybe make us unhappy or overthink or sabotage a relationship. But if you right, this is sort of what you're referring to, right? Like you close your eyes or you turn away from certain things. I think maybe but this is for sure a topic for a future episode because I might have a difference in philosophy with you here on this. I actually believe you don't need to hide anything with the right person, with the perfect connect. Like you don't. There's nothing that they wouldn't want to know, but that changes. Some people would want to know and they wouldn't want to know. Certain things you do. Wow, let's be controversial here. If you have a beautiful God fucking level relationship and it's a pathway to the divine with someone, who cares if the girl has a boy toy or if you bang a girl on the side sometimes? If it takes nothing away, neither side knows because they were fucking cavemen and cavewomen at the same time. So we can talk more about this in the future. But I would like to conclude with this idea, which you were pointing to earlier, Stan, which is if a good guy treats a woman well and she doesn't respond and she leaves him and whatever, and he might feel shitty in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking to myself and to you and to whoever's listening. Uh, Nothing was wasted. Your integrity is there. You were still a good person. You still showed up to your best. Zan says nothing done with a sincere heart is ever wasted, or something like this. I don't know what he wrote because we don't know when his next book is coming out. But there's nothing. Let's say you were in a 10-year or 15-year relationship for all of your 20s, and then your relationship ends. At least what I would put out there is nothing was wasted because you learned so much. It makes you exactly who you are, and the love that you gave is not wasted. It just transformed into the new person that you became, that they became. The love remains in a different form. It was not wasted. You know more for the future, what not to go into the next time. Maybe after many, many patterns, And so if you can have a clear conscience and know that you meant well with a sincere heart, no matter the external outcome, it might be beyond your control. She might be turned off by being treated well. It doesn't make you a bad person, nor should you stop treating women well, because there might just be a girl that actually comes along and appreciates you and loves you forever because of the exact same behavior and treatment that you gave this other girl. That is not a good enough excuse to be a shitty person because one girl, a shitty person, was that way with you one time for you to turn off this beautiful, brilliant, light and dark energy that you have. Like, imagine toning yourself down because you think you can't be kind or open or generous in the future because one person, one girl, one guy used you. It's the exact same thing to say to girls, you know. But also get smarter and read people better. And don't get into the same thing. Because if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. But if you make the same mistake twice, it's a choice, as Johnny Soporno says. Do you have any sort of closing thoughts, Stan? I really enjoyed the discussion today. It went all over the place, but I feel like it's mostly on point.
Well, first of all, I will say this is the wrong conception when guys say, I gave my life to her, and now I cannot love anyone, I cannot trust. I mean, if it's your love, nobody can take it from you, right? First of all. The second thing, I really believe that love has no expiring date, right? And in the same
Expiration
time,
date.
yes, and at the same time, it's not like gasoline in your car. It's there or not there, right? And the second thing, you need to understand if you are giving up
Nice metaphor.
when you're giving up on women and when you're giving up on possibility to have beautiful relationship, that very much says about you that you're a loser. Something so strong, not maybe even so strong, losing your eyes or losing your hands, legs. It's a very stronger problem, right? So, I mean, if you gave up just because someone didn't treat you the way you wanted to be treated or the way you imagined the relationship, and you giving up and you closing yourself and sitting in your little box, that's the price of you as the man. Why would
Are you
why would women waste their time on you?
are
And
you going to let one bad girl turn you into a bad guy?
it just says about you as the man, like first of all, you didn't explore yourself. You didn't explore your boy wounded archetype. Many men, they still boys even in their 60s, 70s. I mean, boy is always trying to see the world as unbearable, something unfair to him, right? But if you will take your life into your hands and say, yeah, didn't went as I expected to, sad. Next time I will try again, and I will try again until I will get what I want. That's a very masculine approach. You
Wow.
can you cannot build an empire from one attempt. And beautiful
Unless you're
relationship.
Alexander.
Well, also, like people talk about Alexander a lot, but nobody talks about Philip, his father, who basically
Yeah.
created the background that helped
Who
Alexander
gave him the shoulders to stand on. Yeah.
shoulders to stand on, and also army and tactics that Macedonians used by that time. So,
Another topic for another day, for sure. But Stan, that's a brilliant point. Just kind of see if I heard you correctly that it's the most masculine thing to have something shitty happen to you and be like, oh, that sucked. I learned something, and now let me do it better next time. Because now I know more. I know how to lead better and how to create better. Instead of letting that turn you into a victim, into a fuck. Now I'm so unlucky and my life sucks. And yeah, I beautiful. You have great metaphors, Stan. Gasoline, uh,
mhm,
it's there or it's not. Like gasoline in your car or not. Love is not like gasoline.
yes,
Write it down. Put it in your book.
it's there, and that's all. Like, it all depends on you. If traumas and your previous experience has been so strong that you never overcame them, bad for you. Like I recently reposted the quote of Victoria Tokareva, Russian writer, and she said, "Yeah, you can live without love until you find out what love is."
Nah.
In my opinion, you need to be very much fucked up if after one or two, three unhappy experiences you gave up on this.
Yeah.
What they usually do, these
Or
guys, you can
100.
you can ease 100, yeah, like in our case. Like I mean, there is you can easily recognize these guys, you know. They post selfies from the gym. They trying to show that their life's still going, and they. But in my opinion, you know, like men who is so badly suffering that he needs to show him always. It's the guy who is not communicating to himself. It's um, it's okay, you know, when women trying to show up, you know, when women post themselves, etc. I think the
She wants to
the
feel
easiest,
beautiful.
the easiest way to recognize the guy on his journey versus the guy who is wounded. The guy on his journey, he shows his journey. You never see on his photos him, you know. He's just you
Mm.
just see like some environments, right? And then opposite thing. You see the guy posting himself all the time. It's someone who's so badly craving validation. Oh yeah, I didn't know. And,
No, great point. No, no, continue, Stan. This is on point.
well, I would just say, you know, like you guys can forever hate women or hate society or say, no, no, relationship doesn't work in this time or age or whatever. You know, if you don't have time and capacity for her, someone else will have, and that's all. So
So,
what is going to be your next perspective? You will say, "Oh, she's just a whore because now she's with this guy," right? I mean, I, it's still victim mentality.
so to return to the childlike narcissism or radical self-responsibility, and yeah, everything that you do is your fault, good and bad. I would like to close with this, which is a quote that you wrote on Threads, and you should post more, bro. And it was old. Poor people have big TVs. Rich people have big libraries. If I'm misquoting you, tell me.
Yes.
And I think because we started this conversation with instead of coaching, read literature, right?
Yes.
Great literature, the Iliad, the Odyssey, and any other books you want to throw in there. Like
No.
another time. Okay. Uh, and then live it like you did, Stan. Like I did. Like we still are. I'm waiting for our next adventure, the next fucking decade. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
And to those that hear this, if you're still listening to this, if you're still here, you don't think we're crazy people, maybe come join us. For example, in Bucharest, in August to September, we're having a month-long adventure expedition. What's like the old fucking European Grand Tour, like the old fucking no Hernan Cortez burned the ships. We have, but in a way we are, Stan, because there's no other choice for us in this life. Like, what are we going to be? Ordinary. Come on, you know. So if this resonates with you in your spirit, and you're one of us already, if you're listening and you're still here, come join us, because we're going anyways, and it's pretty magnificent, the horizon and the adventure that we're chasing, and we don't know how it's gonna go or how long it's going to last, but we're going anyways.